Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and yes, I'm still doing the Mother Chronicles, and because that's the most important person to me in the world, or was at least, whatever, because that's the person that birthed me. But a lot of things have changed, and again, I do these chronicles as self-therapy to just get things off my mind ahead of time, because I already know I'm right. And like I said, me and my mother had a very good relationship up until the time she had her medical incident. And it wasn't until shortly after that they moved in with someone who, has, I don't know, issues towards me or whatever, that our relationship kind of began to deteriorate because this so-called person kind of, in my mother's, I don't know what you want to call it, compromised state, kind of hijacked their will, co-opted their will. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, hey, I don't like you. I have issues, so therefore I'm going to project that through mom. I mean, even so much so, and this kind of confirmed my suspicion, is that one of the last conversations we had, I could hear this other person whispering in their ear what to say as if I couldn't hear it. I could hear them actually coaching my mother what to say, even though my mother's in a compromised state. I know my mom wouldn't really say, think that or whatever. So that was just like when I just kind of threw up my hands. And I'm like, all I can really do is cherish the past, what was, and what is, or whatever. And because I can go one or two courses. I can either continue to live my life and be the most I can be, and that's the best way I can honor my parents, I guess you could say. Or I could go down this other road and get obsessed with trying to, whatever, and get all emotionally worked up and this and that and that. That's just too stressful, folks. Because, as you get older, you get wiser, hopefully, supposedly, not everyone. Some people, as they get older, they get more ignorant. So I read a lot about stress and what it does to your body and, like, premature aging, why some people don't age, why other people's age really quick. And our emotions have a lot to do with our health, our DNA, our RNA. And if you're always stressed out, it's like it literally chews up your, I forget what they're called, but your strands in your DNA, and you get sick. Your immune drops. You start to age. You lose hair. How like presidents. How people say presidents look young at first, and then by the end of their term they got gray hairs. It's the same thing with stress. That is stress. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do what my mom always told me, because I know if my mom was independent right now and living by herself, she'd be telling me this. She'd be like, boy, just chill, let the universe. So that's what I'm going to do. I only have control over what I have control over. And trying to force situations or outcomes that I don't have, it's just, right now for me, it's pointless. I'm going to let go and let God, or I'm going to let go and let fate, man. Those who believe and trust in me, they'll find their way back to me. And if not, then oh well, it was great in the past. But I'm not going to self-terminate myself by stressing out and kind of, what they call it, self-fulfilling prophecy, where other people, they deliberately agitate you so they can get the outcome they want. Let me say that again. There are certain other people in this world, and I just call it evil, that will agitate you, pull strings in you so that they can get the outcome you want. You know what I'm saying? In other words, they'll dump a pot of boiling water on your head. Then when you react to that hot water on your head, and let's say you yell, you scream, maybe you curse, maybe you say things, then they're like, oh, you're bad. Why did you say that to me? But they never once want to look at themselves and what did they do to make you react that way. They never once want to look at the fact that they poured a pot of boiling water over your head. It's always you. You see what I'm saying? The premise is always, oh, well, you have a temperament problem. Folks, anyone that knows me, they know I'm calm, goofy, loving as heck. All can be. The only time I ever act out, folks, is when, in the past, when anyone ever got in the way between me and my mother. That's it. So yeah, of course, if anyone, just like you all got mothers or kids or family, whatever, someone you love. If someone gets in the way of that relationship, of course you're going to act out. But the person who gets in the way, pours hot coals on your head or boiling water, they never look at what they did. It's always you. It's always your reaction. It's not their action. It's always your reaction. And to me, that's just a form of manipulative evil. And I don't have time for it, folks. I don't. It's just, I got better things to focus on right now. And like I said, those who know and trust me will always know and trust me. But those who have side issues or, got demons in them or something, it's like it's hopeless. It's like throwing all your energy into a black hole. You know how like black holes just suck up all your energy? And that's what being around negative people is like. They're always going to spin it in their favor. And that's why they don't ever like to talk to you, because when they actually have to talk to you, like say if there's a third party, they have to actually look at themselves. So that's why, they talk over you, because they don't want to hear. Then you realize it's you. You're the one with the issues. And there's a lot of flawed people in this world. We're all flawed, folks. And in the end, that's another thing real quick before I go. You can't be even if you're perfect on this world, you still can't please everyone. Because it's like trying to be perfect to imperfect beings. Like how many of you all have heard stories, you got the perfect young woman or man out of college or high school. They did everything right. They still get killed, or they still get robbed, or they still blah, 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 blah. Go to jail because they ran into a corrupt cop. So this idea that our behavior can actually, affect the behavior of a sinful person is absurd, and it's a trap. You can act as good and honorable as you want. You can obey the 10 Commandments. You can do this and that. But you got to realize it's not God you're trying to impress. You're trying to impress someone who is another sinner. Okay? And so anyone that expects you to be perfect in front of them, what they're really saying is, I need you to bend and form to my own warped expectations, which is sin. So don't fall for that game. A loving person says, to heck with that. I love you regardless. Just like Jesus or God, right? You know what I'm saying? Jesus or God, he doesn't accept it. Oh, you're perfect. Or I'll only die for you if you're perfect. It's just the opposite. God's like, I know you're not perfect. You're going to make mistakes. But I still love you. That's a reasonable person. Especially people that be talking that God biblical stuff. Sometimes they end up being the worst, man. But anyways, folks, this is just my weekly therapeutic session to self, so that I want people to read this in the future, so that if something goes down, whatever, I want you all to know my side, how I felt, how I looked at it. Because if you don't tell your own story, other people will. And when other people tell your story, they inevitably always get it wrong. So with that, have a wonderful rest of your day. But only if you're a good person. I'm done trying to wish good onto those who are bad and corrupt. So only if you're a good person, have a wonderful rest of your day. And with that, I am out.